Welcome to HortTube. My name is Jim Putnam, and this is going to be a quick video on the method I use for getting rid of heavy limbs on a tree. This is a willow oak behind me. It's got 3 or 4 limbs on the bottom of it that need to come off, and they're very heavy and extend out a long way from the tree. I'm going to show you the best technique for taking those off. I want to show you this example real quick on this small limb on the bottom of this red bud that needs to be taken off so we can get a close-up of it. Most of the time, these branches will be extending way out from the tree, and if I just start cutting on the top of this thing, the actual weight of the branch will break it before I finish cutting it, and has the potential to actually peel bark back off the tree right here. So what we need to do is actually, instead of just cutting it off where we ultimately want to cut it off, I'm going to come up about 3 inches from that spot, and I'm going to make a cut on the bottom of it, like this right here. Okay, and I can go about 25% in. The weight of this branch would eventually pinch this blade if I went too far up. So I go about 25% in at that point. Then I come about 2 inches further up from that and start to make a cut from the top, like this. What this back cut does is basically is a backstop to prevent anything from peeling off the bottom. This branch is going to break, especially if it had more weight on it, would break when I get just past halfway on it. And that's where my relief cut will kick in, and it should just break off clean at that spot. At that point, we're only going to have this much, and I'll make my final cut to clean this thing up. But I'm gonna apply some weight to this thing to show you what will happen on a bigger one. You see that? How that prevented it from that crack from continuing down that branch. That's a perfect example of what I'm talking about right there. Once this piece is off, I just come back in here and cut it right where I want to cut it, since there's no additional weight. And since that's a totally smooth cut now, and I didn't do any damage to it, I'll just leave that unprotected. It's perfect, it's a smooth cut. Water's gonna dry off of that very quickly. There you go right there, totally smooth cut, and we prevented any damage by putting that back cut on it and using 3 cuts instead of 1. Okay, so this is one of the limbs I want to take off right here. It's very long and very heavy, extends way up into that area. I'm going to make a cut about halfway just from the top, and I want to show you the damage it'll do by not making the relief cut on the bottom. This is a tree pruner here. It's the exact same type of pruning saw on the top of this that you saw me use on that smaller limb. But I'm just going to take this right over the top of this branch and just start cutting it from the top. These tree pruning saws don't take a lot of physical effort. You just have to slide them the full length of the saw blade back and forth. The teeth are really aggressive on them. So that's what I'm talking about. You just heard that crack. This thing is now split about 6 or 8 inches back. I'll give you a close-up of that. So I hope you can see the damage that was done here. It's been completely splintered in this area. And if that had been right back at the base of the branch next to the tree, it potentially would have done a significant amount of damage to the actual trunk of the tree. So that's why I use that relief cut on the bottom. I'll show you closer to the tree, more proper approach. I'll put the bottom cut on the next cut. So I removed the rest of that branch. Still quite a bit of weight on this branch. It definitely could still do some damage. I'm going to make my back cut under the bottom here. Like I say, you don't want to go too far that the weight of the branch pinches the blade. So I'm maybe 25% in there now. And so I've got this bottom cut about 3-4 inches from the actual trunk of the tree, and I'm going to go about 2 inches in front of it, above it, like this, and it should snap off along that bottom line. It's about to go now. Boom. Easy peasy. Probably should have moved the bird feeder first. You can really see the effectiveness of that back cut. It peeled this part right here off and broke right at that back cut on the bottom. Otherwise, it would have just peeled potentially right down onto the trunk. of the tree. So you can see how effective that is. And I really have to cut about 25% in on the bottom, maybe 60% on the top. That gets enough weight for it to snap. And now all I have to do is make the one cut near the branch, which I don't really have to worry about that because there's not much weight on that little stump that's left. So as you saw, a sharp pruning saw with a single small cut underneath and then one on the top a little further out will make a perfect place for the branch to break off and not damage your tree. Pruning saw needs to be sharp. This one is an almost new foldable one, which I had no problem on that red bud. The saw part of my tree pruner desperately needs to be replaced. I was really struggling to get that saw through. That saw is maybe 10 years old at this point. It's been through a lot of limbs, so I need to get it replaced. As always, Holly's out here making sure I'm doing a good job on these videos. If this video was helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for future videos. Also comment below with any questions you have about pruning. Thanks for watching.